Like that's the rule for him. He's always been having that type of behavior. And that whole line, like, I understand where I am. Do you understand where you are? Because to me, when I hear you say that, it doesn't feel like you understand where you are. You are jeopardizing your team. And by the way, like, this whole thing, it is what it is. No, that's not the case, Draymond. Like, we've heard you say this before. That felt even more embarrassing than the act itself. It was like the explanation of, now I need to explain myself because I understand what I did, but I don't think he truly understands how important he is to this team. And that's crazy to me for somebody so cerebral, somebody so aware, a sense of heightened awareness. The lack of awareness internally is what really loses me.
Uncle Seth, what'd you think of that?
What I think of it was a joke, to be honest with you. I mean, look, he can say all he wants about he understands what he has to do. The problem is he's like the boy who cried wolf. I mean, like, to me, I don't only blame Draymond. I blame the organization. You can't continue to say, all right, and put him right back in the game. All right, put him right back in the game. You talk about the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors. It's over. It's done. The culture creators in that locker room have to take ownership in what's going on. And you know what? This isn't Steve Kerr, although he's got it up. Don't play the dude. He's absolutely killing your culture, your identity, and basically everything that you built. Eventually, no means no. It's like when you're dealing with your kids. If no means yes, then you know what? You shouldn't have said no. So your actions as a coach, as an organization, have to be a whole lot stronger because you can't just say, hey, I know it's Draymond, we're disappointed. If I'm Steph Curry, hey, Steph Curry, that's your locker room. You're the culture creator for the Golden State Warriors. You've got to take a stronger stand. Steve Kerr's got to take a stronger stand. And you know what? So the way it is right now, the Golden State Warriors aren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. You're going to have to blow this thing up. So why not make a strong statement and say, you know what? We've got to move on. It might impact us in the playoffs this year. Who cares about it? We're not winning a national championship this year anyway. So make a strong statement about the culture of your organization.
They're not even assured of making the playoffs. There was so much conversation about who else may be culpable for this. Jay, you were right in the middle of that, I know, on First Take yesterday. Steve Kerr did address all of this yesterday, to Seth's point and yours. Here's a little of what the coach said.
It was really unforgivable, and I think Steph may have even been a little upset with himself for not pulling Draymond out of there, but I think mostly it was just, come on, man, we need this. Draymond knows. I mean, he's a grown man. He's got to handle his own business. Any mention of Steph being culpable is just ridiculous. The way Steph has carried our franchise, represented our franchise for 15 years, it's absolutely ridiculous.
So Greeny, I wanted to address this because I think it was very important.
Well, and for those who don't know, a lot of that conversation stemmed from some of the things that you had been hearing and you mentioned on First Take yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday on First Take, I made mention that I have been getting texts from people that I value their opinions, and these people were questioning the leadership of Steph Curry. I do not question the leadership of Steph Curry. I have heard countless things about the interventions that have occurred inside that locker room. So once again, these were people and their texts around that. Now, there is culpability from the franchise, right, for enabling this type of behavior. But to me, when I saw Steph yesterday, that was somebody who was tapped out. So for anybody that says, you know what, Steph, get in there, grab him away from that situation, get Draymond Green out of his own way. At some point, people, Steph Curry is tired as hell of saving Draymond Green from Draymond Green. He just wants to play basketball. He just wants to make the playoffs. He just wants to hoop. And if you can't get yourself out of your own way, if you can't be mentally mature enough, right, to not be the victim, to actually be the proactive person that says, you know what, I'm not going to engage in this. There's a point where Steph Curry, one of the top 10 greatest players to ever live, is going to say, you know what, it is what it is. I'm done with this. I can't help you anymore. I'm tired.
Seth.
Jay, well, I agree with you. Look, it's the organization right now. If the organization continues to allow him to act the way he's acting, continue to play him, continue to try to hold on to that last playoff spot, you're condoning the behavior. You're condoning it because you're not taking any actions. All the words you want, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's a great leader, great coach, incredible success. The organization's been incredible. But here's the deal. Words mean nothing. Actions speak volumes. And right now, when I look at it, the Golden State's actions is, you know what? We understand Draymond. We understand we don't want him to act this way. But, hey, Draymond, go back out there. That's all right. We'll give it another shot. Oh, Draymond, go back out there. We'll give it another shot. blow the thing up. You know, you're going to play in the play-on game. That's great. Too many instances, too many things have happened.
You got to be careful about blowing it up because you got to make sure that everything is set for Steph to finish his career with the Golden State Warriors. But I will say this. If you've ever met Bob Myers, if you ever have spoken to Bob Myers, he's one of the smartest people that you met. Think about when he left this organization. Think about that. When he left this organization, handed the keys to Mike Dunleavy, former teammate of mine, that is a really big part of this whole thing here.
There's something I want to get into as the hour continues. And you know what? I'm just making a decision. We're going to come back to this a little bit later in the hour because I think we have to address it. Listen, for both of you guys, I hear what you're saying. I'm not in disagreement, particularly with you, Seth. But, I mean, sports history is filled with people who have been given special treatment because they are special players, because they are necessary, because taking them off the court would be cutting off your nose to spite your face. And there is some degree of that is going on here, right? I mean, there will come a point where you just can't do it anymore. Is he better than his problems,
Go ahead,
Seth. Yeah.
Is he better than his problems? Now, the Draymond Green today, big picture, is he better than his problems? Is he better than the embarrassment he's bringing to the organization? Is he better than the situation where you take one of the greatest guard in maybe the history of the game and he's shaking his head? Are you better off moving on from him and then surrounding young players, bringing in new players, creating a new edition of the Golden State Warriors, and you basically center it around Steph Curry? You have him as part of the organization in terms of the decisions you're making moving forward. But do you think, let me ask you this, Steph Curry, do you think he wants to play with Draymond Green another year and go through this every single week, month? Who knows what it is? Because you don't know.
Okay, so here's the position I find myself in today. I am by no means defending Draymond Green's actions the other night. I agree when Tim Legler yesterday said that they were selfish, and I wanted to get Bart in this conversation as well, just as one who played, was a fiery leader.
That was my role on everything.
Yeah, that was your role, and in a team sport, I thought your perspective in this would be interesting. I get it. I mean, what he did the other night was terrible, and I fully understand why everyone would be aggravated with him. But this idea that suddenly, well, this we can't have. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. This is a guy who cost a 73-win team a championship by getting himself suspended in the finals with the lead. This is a guy who twice this year, once he smashes Nurkic, the other time he's got Rudy Gobert around the throat. We've seen that happen this year. But now, because he got thrown out for arguing with the officials, this is a bridge too far. No matter, we can't have this now. Now we got to get rid of him. Now Steve Kerr's not a leader. Now Steph Curry's not a leader. Now we can't have this. It feels to me like we have gotten outraged over, all things considered, the least egregious thing we've seen Draymond Green do in a really long time. Am I crazy?
Yes. Because we've been saying all those things about him throughout all those times, Greeny. We've been saying those things. By the way, to your first point, they were in a championship game. They're in a 10th spot right now.
Right.
Okay, they're in a 10th spot. A completely different scenario. And also, when's the last time you've ever heard the NBA suspend somebody indefinitely? Have you ever heard it? You've been doing this for a long time.
Very seldom, yes.
Very seldom. These are two extreme things.
Right. He got suspended for 16 games earlier this year.
So the point is, those two things combined with, you still haven't learned your lesson? That's what it is. You still haven't learned anything? You can't walk away from it?
But have we not just figured out at some point that this is who Draymond Green is going to be? And we are either going to put up with it or we're not. Now, at some point, maybe they will decide we're not putting up with it anymore. But the fact that they haven't done it till this point does not suggest to me that this is the moment, with 15 games left in the season, clinging to playoff hopes, that now we just can't have this anymore.
I've been there, right? As a guy who threw a flag in the stands and tried to fight the referee, I've been to the point where emotion.
That's a great way to start a sentence.
Well, go ahead, emotions sometimes get the better of you, right? So, Draymond Green for this team has always been an accountability police, right? When guys get out of line, he put them in check. But who's the guy there that's able to put him in check? And maybe that's not Steph's role in his character, but the difference is, Greeny, production breeds tolerance. And now the production, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And as a Michigan, resident or born and raised in Michigan like Draymond, it hurts me to say this, but we saw this with Dennis Rodman, right? As long as you're winning, the fact that they're in 10th place, he still can't get it. When is he ever going to get it? So now we're watching one of the greatest basketball players of all time just frustrated because he can't control this guy, and they're wasting Steph Curry's prime where he's still playing at a high level, and this team is going to get broken up. And watching the end of dynasties are always tough to watch.
Right.
But the same stuff that you pulled years ago when you were at your peak and your prime, your athletic peak and prime, you can't pull that stuff anymore because you don't bring the productivity that's needed for us to win championships and games.
Go ahead, Seth.
You got to be better than your problems. He's not better than his problems. And you say, if not now, then when? Like when? Because you cannot move on and continue to be the Golden State Warriors, the standard for so many years, and allow this type of behavior. It's just plain and simple. It's killing your locker room. It's killing your chemistry. It's killing the identity of who you are and what you built. I love the way Draymond Green plays. I love his competitiveness. But, Greeny, you just said the league suspended him. What did the Golden State Warriors do? All right, they didn't take the action. It was the league. In the end, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, we're trying to get into the play-in. The play-in game. Is that the standard for the Golden State Warriors? If you're trying to get into the play-in game, this is the perfect time to send a message. Send a message of what this organization stands for. Because once you lose your culture, it is really, really hard to regain.
I get it. But I'm also old enough to remember when a team came from the play-in to the conference final last year in the Lakers. And when a team came from the play-in to the NBA finals last year in the Heat. Getting into the play-in is not nothing. So I understand that their goal is to win championships. But getting into the play-in is a goal. And then you get into the field and then you see what happens. They're still trying to have a season. And if you take Draymond out of it now to try and make a point, then you are cutting off your nose to spite your face. You want to say at the end of the year, you know what? We can't deal with this anymore.
That's what we're all saying. We're all saying at the end of the year. And by the way, how are the Lakers constructed? The Lakers are constructed and they're built differently with their front line, the physicality they play with to compete with a Denver in the Western Conference Finals. Look at the way this team is constructed. When we saw them last year in the playoffs, they were small. Like, they were extremely small. That's not the way you win in today's game.
Well, but we're having two different conversations. No. The biggest person they have in that conversation is Draymond. You're actually adding to this. You take Draymond off the court, now you're even smaller, right? I mean,
I'm not going to take him off the court this year. You can't. You have 15 games left. You're going to play out the rest of this year.
Right.
The real question you have to start asking yourself, if you are the Golden State Warriors, if you can't move pieces to keep them as a contender, if it's in your best interest to inevitably rebuild and go young, do you send Steph Curry somewhere else if you have his collaboration? If you're saying at the end of the day, hey, look,
send Steph Curry somewhere else?
Well, if he can't compete,
if you can't compete for a championship, you got to talk to your star player and say, hey, look, we're going to try to rebuild. If we can't get the right pieces around you right now, do you want to be part of a rebuild? Do you want to be around players who are 21, 22, 23?
You know what?
Or can we do the best thing for you and send you? You're having that conversation at least, Screeny.
Well,
at least you are.
I don't know. The last couple of years of Kobe Bryant's career, the Lakers didn't really compete for anything, and he wanted to be there.
He wanted to be there. That's why you have to ask him if he wants to be there.
Steph Curry wants to finish his career in that uniform?
I don't know what Steph Curry wants. I'm not Steph Curry. I'm saying that's a conversation you have to have.
I mean, look, if they can try and find a way to make him competitive for a championship, that's one thing. But we keep is LeBron going to leave LA to go to Philadelphia at the age of 39 because his team can't compete for a championship?
Well, he's left other teams.
No, I understand that. He's not a person who has played all his career in one place. But there also comes a point where at this
Tom Brady do it.
Yeah, I know. And maybe he'll want to. But I got this. I think that was at least sort of a mutual parting of the way.
I think what we're saying is the dynasty's over and they have to reset. And you can't start getting a bad culture when you have a young locker room. And Draymond Green is part of building a bad culture.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, and the Draymond Green saga continues. A couple nights ago, actually 2 incidents. First, he had that thing with Patty Mills. He kind of like clotheslined him in a way. He just drew a common foul. And then against the Orlando Magic, he said something to the referee and he wasn't even involved in the play. The play involved Andrew Wiggins. He said something to the ref. Ref took it the wrong way. Our ref heard it, and he gave him a technical foul, right? And then all of a sudden, Draymond Green says something again, and he gave him another technical foul. 2 techs, and you're out of there. You're gone. You're done. So, and then you saw Steph Curry just, beside himself. Obviously, Steph Curry had to go off that night and do his thing, but at the end of the day, it's like, damn, man, you just got suspended for doing that thing to Nurkic. You just got suspended for doing that. You've been suspended in the past. Let's have some emotional intelligence and control your anger, right? I get it. You play like this, and I'm not knocking against the fact that you're tenacious and whatnot kind of thing. Your plays, some of it are bad, but most of them are good, right? You're obviously a very good anchor for that defense on the Golden State Warriors. But we are here to talk about, are you jeopardizing the Golden State Warriors' chances? Because when you talk about Draymond Green, you think anyone that mentions Draymond Green is like, oh yeah, like he's such a bad player. He kicks people in the groin. He kicks people. He clotheslines people. He stomps on people. He sticks his tongue out at people. He, swears at the ref, does his thing like that, blah, blah, blah. I get it. You're doing a phenomenal job with the Golden State Warriors, but the fact that everybody's alluding to the fact that you actually do very bad things overshadows your great effort on the court when it comes down to the playoffs. See how bad that is? Now, again, you went to counseling, right? Anger management. I don't know what you did, but it comes a point where you have to control yourself. You cannot let your emotions control you, because the second you do that, it's over. 100%. You cannot let your emotions control you, and that's exactly what happened. 100%, that's exactly what happened. This is, every team out there knows this, right? Every team out there knows, hey, yeah, if I just want to get a quick lead and have Golden State Warriors have no defense, all I got to do is piss off Draymond Green. That's all I got to do, right? He's going to do something stupid. The refs are going to give him techs, and they're going to give him another tech, and then he's ejected. And there goes the Golden State Warriors, right? No wonder Steph Curry is beside himself, because this guy cannot control his emotions. He can't. I thought he could, right? I get it. Some of the calls are bogus. Some of the calls are bad, but some of the calls are good, right? Some of the calls make sense. You can't kick people in the groin. So regardless of what the referee calls, just walk away. Anyone that makes you bad, right? Just walk away. At your job, you walk away, right? Because if you're that angry and you let your emotions control you, you're going to do something stupid and you are going to regret it. So you have the Golden State Warriors neck and neck with the Houston Rockets. They're neck and neck against the Houston Rockets. You do something stupid, you can't control your anger, and then you do something stupid, you get kicked out, your chances of making the play-in tournament are over, right? Are 100% over. Now, it's a matter of Klay Thompson because he's a free agent. If you do not make the playoffs, what happens to Klay Thompson? Do you think they're going to renew his contract? You think they're going to extend him? You couldn't make the playoffs. So, everything depends on Draymond Green at this point. Their chances of making the play-in tournament depends on Draymond Green, because Steph Curry is just one person. Jonathan Kuminga's coming into his own. Klay Thompson is still trying to figure out his shooting streak, his shooting slump, right? Still trying to figure that out. You have their backup bench that can help you out, but at the end of the day, everything depends on Draymond Green and his anger. So, what do you guys think of the Golden State Warriors' chances this year? Are they actually going to do good in the play-in tournament? And will they proceed? Will they even make it to the play-in tournament? Because at this point, it all depends on Draymond Green. So tell me, will the Golden State Warriors, because we are 2.5 weeks away, will the Golden State Warriors actually make the play-in tournament? And if they do, will they make the playoffs? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, Jag from Jag Sports.